Lord Stegan, Brian Curtis here for Cash Call this week. Good to see everybody. Thanks for showing up again. We got like 40 people live on here right now. And Brian, I got a couple of calls that I want to listen to today. And I know back, in the green room, we talked about the fact that you have a good call, one that turned out well. So, we like to demonstrate those too here. I don't know if it's because our companies spend most of our time actively looking for what's wrong so that we can help you with it, that causes us to not hear the good ones. What do you think, Brian?
I think there's a combination of things. So, we do role play. We only do it once a week. I'm struggling getting that much participation in it, but we role play once a week with our team. And it's funny. And I've done this. So I think sometimes we get a frontal lobotomy when the phone rings and we forget all the stuff. We practice all the stuff. And it's funny because for whatever reason, and this is going to sound like a complaint, but it's not, I can't get my phone to stop ringing, like it shows up different places. So I get leads all the time. And so it's funny. I found myself going, okay, if I was coaching somebody, what would I be saying here? And I actually get a little empathy for some of the things that we talk about. I'm like, man, I'm just going to book the appointment and move on. I'm like, no, you got to do discovery. You got to figure out what they want. You got to make sure that we're buttoning it up. And I get it. So for all those agents out there, I just want to let you know that, yes, we dog on people a little bit and with love, but also the reality is that it's a hard thing to do. And if you're not prepared to take those phone calls, if you're not in the right mindset, I can understand why you go, yep. Okay, great. Show you the house 3:00 today. Awesome. See you then. That's, I guess, an appointment, but at the end of the day, probably not the best phone call. So,
right.
It just happens. And, it's all about what you're focused on, what matters to you. Right. So if you're just like, I'll just call people, it'll be fine. That's one way to approach it. If you're like, man, every single phone call that I take is a potential check, is a potential income, is a potential opportunity to put my kids through college, I think you're going to approach it differently. So I think, take a look at that. It just depending on who you are and where you're going.
Yeah. All right, so let's here. I'm gonna play this first one. All right, are you guys ready? Now, this first one is about active listening. Let's practice our active listening skills. Let's hear this one.
Checked out our website a day ago. Are you looking to make a move soon or just browsing right now?
Yeah, just looking at the pictures.
Okay. Are you a first-time buyer or are you looking to relocate at the moment?
I'm just looking at the pictures. I can't buy a house.
Oh, got it.
Looking at the pictures, I can't buy a house. All right. Now, listen to what happens.
Okay. So not right now, maybe in the future.
All right.
Yeah, all right, that's fine. I'm looking at the pictures, I can't buy a house. Oh, so not now, maybe in the future. Well, I don't know. I think we can go straight at what the guy's saying. Let's maybe unpack like, oh, got it. What makes you believe you can't buy a home? Use what he's saying, right? Make the question more relevant to him, or, try to active listening is all I'm saying. Let's keep. Go ahead, Brian.
And empathy too. Like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. If you don't mind, because oftentimes we can help people who in one situation get to another. What's stopping you from buying right now? So right. Be a little empathetic. Don't be, well, why can't you buy right now? Because then be like, this guy's a jerk. I don't care about him. So, just empathy is a really important thing. I was listening to something the other day, and that's one of the guys was saying, like, look, we don't have enough empathy as salespeople. So something to consider as you're talking to people.
Yeah. Let's hear the rest of this.
Okay. Would you say maybe in 6 months would be possible for you?
No.
Okay. Well, when do you have in mind?
No,
Never.
None at all. I just wanted to look at the pictures. No, none at all. I just wanted to look at the pictures.
Alrighty, no problem. Well, we'd love to get you some listings though until that time comes for you to make that money.
I don't have any money. I'm not buying a house.
There it is. Lady, I don't have any money. So when I'm talking about active listening, I just think that this is a funny example, but you can hear how the salesperson just has they have a monologue in their head, right?
One gear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. They have a monologue going on, and they're just not really getting the context. They're not getting what this person is saying, and this salesperson could have a much better conversation with this person, figure out if there's a way to help them or solve the problem in a different way if the salesperson were actually listening to what they were saying. So I like demonstrating this because it's a funny example. But
So, and I agree with everything Dale said, but I want to point something out here that, and by the way, Dale's 100% right. That being said, also, I do appreciate the person didn't just give up. So I'm going to go out on a limb without even knowing this, because Dale and I didn't prep this call specifically. This is an ISA, isn't it?
No, this is an agent.
All right. Okay. Well, okay. That makes sense too. So I love the fact if this person can just tweak a couple of things, they'll win. Because here's the reality. Whatever 15 seconds into this phone call, I'm going to say 8 out of 10, maybe 9 out of 10 agents would have went, okay, great, thanks, click. Now, there was nothing, in my opinion, this person probably could have done to get this guy. I mean, you don't have no money. I can't fix that problem. There's conditions and objections. That's a condition. Yeah. That being said, I love that she tried. Now, again, let's try a little bit better, but at least she didn't give up.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's funny that you mentioned that she didn't give up. Here's what I've noticed. You probably noticed this too. Newer salespeople can be nice and aggressive and kind of, oblivious and consistent, or oblivious, and they'll just keep going. You know what I mean? Persistent. And then one of two things happens. You either become jaded and you stop being persistent and have to relearn how to be persistent, or you're just always persistent. You just figure out how to do it better and you become successful really fast.
Amen. And I call it scar tissue. Like, you get told to F off, hung up on, all these things that builds some scar tissue. You got to get rid of that scar tissue and just next. It's okay. Mindset is so important when you're making phone calls, because again, this guy, I don't know who it was, but my guess is he had no intention of talking to this person. This person called him out of the blue from his perception. Right. So, yeah. You need to build some tough skin, but again, don't like the process. Love the attitude of, I'm going to find a way to sell this guy something. So
now let's hear the scenario you talked about, which is where somebody would give up too quickly. So listen to this one.
Good. What's this regarding? Sorry, I didn't hear.
Yeah, this was regarding a home purchase over in the San Diego, California area. We were just wanting to reach up and follow out with you and make sure that we can answer any questions for you, or see if your plans had changed, or if you were looking to make that move soon.
Oh, no, not right now.
I hear you. What seems to be getting in the way right now?
Great question. What seems to be getting in the way right now, but let's hear what happens.
What was that?
I said, what seems to be getting in the way? Is it like the interest rates, or is it the home prices? Is there anything?
I'm having a baby in less than 2 months. Like, that's
congrats.
Yeah, so
that's
it's
awesome.
One life change at a time.
Absolutely. I totally hear you. Well, hey, I'll go ahead and reach out in a couple months here. Make sure that whenever you guys are ready, I'll be here if you guys do need any assistance. And congrats on the baby, and I hope everything goes over smoothly.
What the hell? Why'd you leave? We just got into a major fact here of this person, and what they're looking to do. Is, okay, you don't want to sell her a house in 5 months? Even if she won't buy one now, you don't want to, let's make a relationship here? Can we make a nurture in the system? Just because he treated this lead like she just said, my spouse died or something. And he was like, oh, okay, hey, let me call you later then.
Pregnancy is not a disease.
Pregnancy is not a natural disaster. It's okay. You can continue talking to her.
Yeah, a lot of times it's a really good thing. I'm not going to say 100% of the time, but a lot of times it's a really good thing. Oh, congratulations. Is this your first baby?
Yeah.
Oh, no, we've got 14 kids, or no, or yes, whatever the case may be. Well, we understand that obviously this may not be the time to move, but, just tell me a little bit about your situation. Just do some discovery, because, by the way, listen to this woman. She wasn't pissed off. She wasn't irritated. No. She was just like, I'm having a baby. Okay, well, awesome.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the agent was like, whoa, okay, having a baby. Sorry that I bothered you. I'll call later.
Yeah. So, and I get it. Like, it's a version of no, and we have to be okay with versions of no and be willing to move forward with those. And, no means ask again in a different way, as far as I've been taught as from sales. So
or wait around until it turns into yes, right?
Yeah. And I appreciate that he's going to follow up in a couple months, but really, so she's going to have either she's going to be 9.5 months pregnant, or she just had a baby. Neither of those things is what I want to be talking to anybody.
No.
So,
and that was how long was this call? That call was 1 minute and 3 seconds. What is the likelihood that that woman in 2 months is going to remember or welcome a call from a salesperson who she only spoke to for 1 minute and 3 seconds?
I'm going to go somewhere between 0 and none is my guess.
0 and none. Yes, exactly. So if you have any hope of turning this person into a piece of business down the road, if you can't get it now, then stay longer and have a longer conversation. I would actually argue, Brian, that you need to have a longer conversation with the people who are going to be nurturers in your system than the ones who agree to meet with you in the next couple of days.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I've got to have something to talk about too. We talked about this in our team meeting today. It's challenging to come up with stuff to talk about sometimes. So if I can do some discovery, hey, by the way, congratulations on the baby. Congratulations on this, awesome. This is going on. And, how's your older one doing with the baby being born? Is that causing problems? Is that working out well? I mean, there's so many things if you have enough information to talk about that it makes it such an easier conversation in comparison.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. All right. I took my 15 minutes. What do you got? We want to hear your good call. Let's shower some praise on some unsuspecting person out there.
Absolutely. And let me say this. I said this is a good call. Doesn't mean it's perfect. Doesn't mean there's not opportunities. But what I loved about this was not giving up. Kind of, anyway, I'll just play it. We'll get there. So, all right, here we go. Thumbs up.
Hey, is this Mark?
This is.
Hey, Mark, Curtis Realty Group. How are you?
I'm sorry, who's this?
Realty Group. Realtor.com asked me to give you a call because you inquired about a home on Lake Sequoia Drive in Fayetteville.
Yeah, that was a while ago. That was weeks ago.
Oh, okay. Are you still looking for a home?
I have a realtor that I'm going through now, so I don't really need help from realtor.com right now. At the moment.
Okay, you have a.
What did he say? She said, are you still looking for a home?
He said he's not looking for a home, but he's not looking to talk to anybody from realtor.com right now.
Oh, got it. Okay.
And she does a good job of fixing that. She said, I'm a local agent. So one of the things, and again, not a perfect call, but intro scripts are really important. So I blanked out the name so you couldn't hear it as well. But one of the things that I really want people to think about as they're doing phone calls to people who aren't calling them is, hey, this is so-and-so with such and such group. Realtor.com asked me to reach out to you. So I said I'm a real estate agent with company X, and realtor.com asked me to reach out to you. Now the person's not confused, because one of the things that happens, at least like this is apparently a pretty old realtor.com lead. Sometimes I don't understand how it works exactly, but like this person made an inquiry like 3 weeks ago. So he really didn't expect anybody to call him, and when he's doing that. So
yeah,
makes sense. Yeah. I'm going to hit play again.
Okay.
Do you have a realtor that you're working with? I'm not with realtor.com. I'm a local agent here in Rogers.
Oh, okay. I'm at the moment, but I'm also not really in the housing market anymore at the moment.
Oh, you're not?
Just kind of waiting right now.
Okay. Out of curiosity, what's got you waiting?
The market. Everybody else.
The market?
Everybody else's way. Yeah, everything I looked at is just all of the existing homes are just a little crazy right now. So everything I look at, new construction or just wait for the existing home market to settle down a bit. So that's all.
Yeah. Okay. When you say settle down, are you thinking like interest rates or prices or?
Pause it. Wow, look at that. I think this girl's got some training. Woohoo, she's sounding good.
Yeah, following the no, right? Like a lot of people go wait for it to slow down. Okay. Yeah. What does that mean? Ask the next question. Follow the no, whatever verbiage. So yes, again, not the perfect phone call, but so many good things.
No, I can hear her training and her skill set here. Anybody else who hasn't been through the training that we do with people would have just rolled over and died a couple of times already on this conversation.
Yeah. I'll play some more.
Prices, yeah, interest rates are going to be going down anytime soon, probably. But everything I looked at in the starter home category is either, at least around here, everything I've looked at is needs serious problems or repairs or anything like that, or it's priced way too high. So just gonna wait for that to come down. Or I'll probably end up doing some construction or something.
So what he said, basically, it's hard to understand, is that everything he's looking at is not in good condition, and he thinks he's probably going to buy a new construction house when he buys.
Got it.
Later this year or early into next year.
Okay. So if you do new construction, would you need to find some land then, or do you already have some?
No, I don't have any right now.
Okay. Yeah. Well, what price range were you looking in for the home?
For an existing home, probably under 250. If I went to new construction, probably 300, 220. Depends on who he's building it and where it's at.
Okay. Were you wanting like just the Fayetteville area, or?
So I probably would have liked to see a different question than the one that she asked right there. Like, oh, so out of curiosity, you're willing to pay $250,000 for a pre-built or a currently built home. What's the difference for you to, that you're willing to spend $75,000 on a new construction home? What's the benefit to new construction for you? So you can understand, because the reality is at 3.25 in our market, this person could find a decent house for what the discovery is. So just, that was one place I think we could have had a better opportunity. Who cares if the house is 3 or 4 years old? And maybe that's important to him in some way, but maybe not. So, yeah. And I probably would have went into, because I'm trying to sell new construction right now as a challenge. And 3.25, unfortunately, new construction doesn't buy you a lot. Mm-hmm. So, if we can find you a house that maybe was really new, would you consider going up to 3.25? Might be a question or something, some version of that also. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. This guy, I hear it a lot of times with leads where they'll have some kind of preconceived notion that gets in their own way, that we as sort of consultants can help alleviate for them, if they're misled, if they're, sort of making assumptions that don't really make sense.
Absolutely.
Where were you looking at?
Anywhere really in WA, preferably. Not like in any of the what's the word I'm looking for? In any of the major cities, like outskirts of Fayetteville, East Fayetteville, like Elkins, Farmington.
Okay.
Like that.
What about Prairie Grove and Lincoln? Is that too far? Or?
I haven't looked at those. I'm not sure where Prairie Grove is, to be honest. I'm not originally from Arkansas.
So basically what she's doing is, he mentioned a couple of towns and she went out a little bit further from the central of our base, and he said he'd never even heard of it. So, perception, it might be an extra 15 minutes away, which is in this market, that's sometimes what we have to do. Hey, I want to be here. Would you live 15 minutes further away and be able to get more house, or be able to actually get a house? And that's basically what she's asking there. So I think that was a good question.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Where are you from?
Louisiana.
Oh, okay. Okay. Very cool.
I will point out another thing. We haven't talked about this a lot, but we all have graffiti words, right? Yeah. Her graffiti word is okay. Okay. Yeah. Be careful with those graffiti words. They become annoying for people. So it's a little thing, but again, we're just trying to get as good as we possibly can. Be careful that you're not saying the same thing over and over again. It will annoy people.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want something that's a little bit more rural. I mean, honestly, so I've been a realtor 6.5 years, and I'm on a team of like 30 other agents, but I'm starting to notice a slow in the market because, there's just, I feel like people are waiting, and I feel like, you know, you could definitely use that to your advantage. I think for you looking at, you know, 250, that could definitely find you a house. Are you needing like a 3-bedroom, or did you want 4-bedroom?
Ideally 3. I don't need anything, more than that right now.
Okay, like a 3-bed, 2-bath.
Ask a slightly better question here. How many bedrooms do you need minimum, max, or something like that, instead of putting that in his head? Because what we don't know, would this guy be okay with a 2-bedroom?
Yeah.
Because she asked the question, do you need a 3 or a 4-bedroom? She didn't give him an option to have a 2-bedroom.
Yeah. The other thing, I appreciate the fact that she's trying to pitch him to get back out there, right? Buck up, kiddo, and maybe get out there and take advantage of the market. What hasn't been established is why he's buying in the first place. So if I were training her, I'd say, hey, great initiative. You know, obviously we already talked about how she's demonstrating some really good training and staying in the conversation and unpacking it. What I would tell her, just as a convention, is before you try to get somebody to decide to do what you want them to do, figure out why they're doing it first, and you can bake that into your leverage, right? Hey, listen, I've seen the market starting to slow down, and this could be that right time for your family to add another bedroom, if that's what he said. Or it could be that the right time where you can still get your kids into that school district, or whatever it is that he said, right? I can use it as that further leverage to push the decision point to keep going and give this another shot.
Awesome. Somebody said they can't hear the conversation. I hope that was just you. I'm sorry that you can't hear the conversation. But
yeah, I think everybody does.
Okay, cool. There's only 40 seconds left in this.
Okay. Well, can I set you up on like an automated email so you can see homes?
Yeah, I mean,
with your criteria. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, and then I'll text you and send you all my info, and then if you see anything that you like or have any questions, feel free to call or text me. I can show you any home in NWA. Okay?
Yeah, that'd be great. I appreciate it. I'll definitely keep an eye out for anything, that interests me. I might jump back in or something. So.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. And like I said, I'll text you my card and everything, and we can just go from there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Mark. Have a good day.
So a couple of things, and I'm just going to point this out because people may not know our process. The other thing that this agent will do is come Monday morning, basically every morning, we will go through and do what we call push text. We use Ylopo, and we'll go through and we'll send him a text that says, hey, here's 3 houses I saw. So yes, he is setting him up on a listing alert like the 17 other agents he's working with. That being said, we're also going to follow up with text messages with those text links, which to me is very powerful. If you have a system that allows you to text a listing to somebody, I think that's 10 times more valuable than an email. That's just my personal opinion. So
no, I would agree with you. Email definitely gets overloaded. And it just so many people are doing it. So many people have been doing it. And like, we're not the only people emailing these leads, because if I go to my inbox, there's just so much spam that comes through, so much stuff that, makes it even through the filters into my inbox anyway, that it can get lost. So texting is definitely a good thing. I would say this, I would recommend really only texting it to people that you've had conversations with, because they will opt out real fast, and you'll burn your ability to be able to text them.
100%. And I completely, spam texting people. Hey, first of all, it's depending on where you got the lead from, it might actually be a TCPA violation. But second of all, it just, who are you? Why are you sending me this? And here's the thing. And I mean, this happens to you. It happens to me. If I'm in a frustrated place, like let's say I'm trying to use my phone and some stupid text message pops up from somebody I don't know, leave me alone. It happens, and it happens to all of us. So, text is extremely powerful, but use it on purpose, not just blowing it out there. I see a lot of people doing that. And, anyway, I just think that's a good idea. So again, there's plenty of opportunity to be a little bit better in this call, but I love that we took somebody from not being in the market. If you listen to his tone of voice, he sounds excited to actually get these new listings that she promised him. And who knows, they may exist, they may not. But if I'm her, here's a couple other questions I ask. I know you mentioned that you do new construction up to 325. If it's okay, I'm going to send you houses up to 325 because it sounds like you qualify for that. I'm not saying they're going to fit for you. I'm not trying to push you to be higher. I just want you to know what's out there in the market so you can make an educated choice on those too. Is that so? If that's all right with you, something like that, I might not put the end if that's all right with you, but just let him know that, hey, I'm going to send you houses up to 325 because you told me you can pay up to 325, and who knows, maybe he'll see someone getting excited. So.
Yeah, another piece of advice that I have for people is, even especially with this lead, I would have tried to get him onto a Zoom so that we can go through my MLS together and see if there's some opportunities that he hasn't seen, and so that I can really just get direct feedback from him on exactly what he's looking for in case I run across something for him in the future.
I love that. And I think conceptually we've talked about that over the last couple of years. And, obviously if you go back 36 months ago, your average human in the United States didn't know what Zoom was. You've had to have lived in a cave for the last 3 years to not know what Zoom is now. Right. So, most of us have had to use it for work. Most of us have had, we've done all kinds of stuff on Zoom. And honestly, a lot of us hate it because we spend our life on Zoom. But my point is, it's no longer a mystery. And, in 2005, or well, I don't even know, like 2010, if I said to somebody, let's Zoom, they're like, what are you talking about? That sounds creepy. Now everyone knows exactly what it is. So, we need to use that more. Hey, I live in a cave. All right, Alex, you don't live in a cave.
Alex,
all right. Hey, I wanted to cover something real quick. I mentioned a graffiti word and somebody asked what would be a good or better graffiti word. So here's what a graffiti word is. Maybe I need to explain that. It's not that it's a problem to say, okay. It's a problem to say, okay, every single time the person says anything. Okay. That's what makes it graffiti. It's filler. A lot of people will, you hear people say, that's graffiti. So it's not necessarily the exact word. It's saying the exact word over and over and over and over again. And it feels like, so some people, if Dale talked about active listening, some people will perceive you using something like, okay, every time somebody says something is you're not really listening. You're just waiting for them to shut up so you can talk. And that's one of the problems with graffiti words. I mean, people do it all the time. Okay. And then when you shut up, now they're going to take their turn to work. So So there's not anything specifically wrong with the word okay. It's just you can't use it over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. So the point, Andrea is the one that asked that. The point is just try not to fall into a pattern, a really recognizable pattern of using words as a crutch or using words as fillers. If you don't have something to say, if you don't have something productive to use there, then just don't.
Yeah. And, that's a great reason to go back and listen to your phone calls, because I'm going to go out on a limb and say most people don't even realize they're doing it.
Yeah. No, they don't. They don't until they hear it. It's funny when somebody who doesn't listen to their own conversations or calls does it, and then they catch those things. They're like, oh my God, why do I keep saying that? I just keep saying that. Yeah. That's a good way to be able to break the habit, is really listen to what you're doing.
Yeah. Put the old rubber band on the wrist, and every time you say, okay, snap it for you. I mean, silly things like that work because they work. So I don't like my own voice when I listen to my calls. It's funny, Alex. I'm going to tell a quick story here at the end. I hear this all the time when people talk about video. I don't like how I look on video. I don't like how I sound on video. I will tell you this, that's how you look and sound. So get over it. And
listen, none of us, nobody does. I don't know about you, Brian. It took me a long time to get used to hearing my own voice. And then it's taken me a while to get used to seeing myself on video. And what's funny is now I'm used to seeing myself on Zoom and I'm like, oh, I look pretty good. We're doing good. And then I see a video of me speaking live at an event. I'm like, what? Who let that guy up on stage? So it still happens.
Yeah, I don't think that ever goes away. We're generally speaking, we're always our own worst critics, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think I came back. I was speaking in San Diego and I came back and I was like, I look like a potato with arms and legs. This is not great. We
Yeah.
gotta fix this.
I love Zoom because you can only see from here down.
Right.
Or here up,
Yes.
I mean.
Exactly. Yeah. Excellent. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us for Cash Call today. Hope you learned something. Brian and I will see all of you next week.
Thanks, everybody.